Hey guys, Jagnoor Singh here, internet's 13th busiest music nerd, and today we're going to be having a look at Diljit Dosanjh's 11th studio album entitled G.O.A.T, which of course we all know stands for Gada on a Train. Yeah, that's the best I could come up with. Sorry for the long wait, I had a couple of uni assignments that I had to do, so now that I'm back, you should see videos every 2 weeks. This is a new series that I'm going to start where I basically review Punjabi albums, so if you have other albums that you would like me to review, leave them in the comments below. Even singles, we'll do a roundup, leave them in the comments below. This format is very unique, it hasn't been done by anyone else, no one that I name dropped in the beginning, so let's just swiftly move on. Now, Diljit's been making albums ever since he was 20, and I just turned 20. What am I doing with my life? If you look through his discography, you'll see that most of them are written by one person and also composed by one person. However, on this album, he has various artists helping him create this project. Because of this, the G.O.A.T as a whole doesn't really feel coherent. It feels like a bunch of singles that were put together to make an album. Diljit's last two albums, Roar and Confidential, were consistent in their tone. Regardless of your opinions of the songs on the albums, the lyrics, the music, the production behind them, they felt consistent and they felt like they belonged to those albums. G.O.A.T feels like it's having an identity crisis. It doesn't know if it wants to be in your face and like hard or like soft and like in the background kind of chill kind of vibes. Now the writers on this tracks are some you've probably heard of, some not so much. And Raj Ranjod, Amrit Maan, Shri Brar, Laddi Chahal, G Sidhu, Karan Aujla, Happy Raikoti, Ranbir Singh, D Harp and Manjinder Brar. Now producing the music behind the tracks were people that you have probably heard of like Deep Jandu, The Kid and Desi Crew. But some people that you might not have heard of, G-Funk, Youngstar Pop Boy, Goops Sahara, Urban King, Intense, Equinder Singh, Mr. Rubel, and Black Virus. Now, like I said before, none of the songs felt like they belonged with each other. Like they peaked in emotion, then dipped, then peaked again, then dipped again. So one thing I would have liked to see is like maybe another configuration of this album could have made it work. Despite that, impression that you get is Diljit will talk about struggles in his life and, you know, the things that he's had to go through to get to where he is. But throughout this whole track, there isn't really much mention of it. G.O.A.T does it once, Amrit Maan's Akhlal Jatt, and then the last track, Born to Shine. Those three tracks are the only notable ones that really attach itself to the vibe of the album, whereas the other ones are just some variations on missing a girl loving a girl loving you back. Nothing revolutionary. It felt like he was a bit hesitant to bring up anything in his past life. I saw some interviews with him and even then he was very hesitant to bring up like stuff that he did in the past. Less of he's embarrassed by, more of that it's a cultural thing and like people don't really talk about these things. But that would have been really cool to see if he did that on this album. All the tracks on this album felt pretty good except for two. Clash's problem was that Diljit's vocals were very muddy. They weren't as loud as the rest of the album, and then with Tare, the vocals for Diljit were put into stereo, but nothing was in the center. Typically when you have a song, all the vocals are in the center of the track. So those were the two anomalies. The rest of the track was pretty well produced. Some songs that I noticed that sampled others. That one felt like it had GTA 5 samples. When the game came out 2013, there was a track that went along with it. I'm not sure if they specifically sampled it, but I could hear it in there. The track that they sampled was a track that I have sampled before in a song previously. If you go to my SoundCloud under my name and you search up featuring unknown, you'll see that I have sampled this same song. Obviously they have done it much better. That track also was another one that I really enjoyed because of the variation in Diljit's rhyming, but that might just be my nostalgia and me noticing the fact that I have sampled it before. If you listen to the synths in the background, they feel very reminiscent of another song, notably Kabutar Di Shaan Vakri, that song that Just Rain made, poking fun at the UK Bhangra industry. Have a listen to both of them because they sound quite similar to each other. Not saying that they were stolen, but it was interesting to see. I don't know, maybe J-Static should be getting some recognition for this. This one I felt like it didn't really match Diljit's vibe. They do make another couple of songs in here, but I feel like this beat especially and the way Diljit sings, the two kind of clashed. It wasn't a very packed beat, there was a lot of breathing space. The track felt very bare bones, it could have used some more variations. This was a classic kind of Punjabi thing a girl versus a boy. But I was really confused by the subject matter of this track about tracksuits. I mean, I've seen some guys in tracksuits, and I don't think you want a guy in tracksuits. That's kind of a, I don't know, a very low bar to set. This song, I feel like it's not being appreciated as much, but it is an absolute banger. This one really does match the whole aesthetic of this album that it was going for. Amrit Maan, the way he writes did enhance this track, so I felt like that's one of the reasons why this track is so good. This beat was pretty good, but I felt like there was more to give. The samples in it felt like it could have been more hyped, but unfortunately this was a kind of a mellow kind of song. This track by Deep Jandru, very good. Another one of those classic verses kind of songs. One thing I would note is that I felt like the tags in this song were unnecessary. We could have done without those. They kind of just feel unnecessary. Maybe one at the end or at the beginning, but in the middle kind of just felt, it just felt unnecessary. Whiskey, this was another beat by Desi Crew, and this one really gave me Sidhu Moosewala vibes, so that was kind of cool to see. The aesthetic of Punjabi singers nowadays is kind of fitting that of like hip hop rappers, you know, wearing expensive clothes, drinking out of lean cup, but they don't really touch on like what they did to get there. I really wish he would, and this album would have been made really special if Diljit really went through with that. Diljit doesn't really name a track for the sake of what it's about. Most notably El Sureño, when that came out and he was asked about why he named it that, it was basically because Despacito was popular that year. The song itself didn't really have anything to do with El Sueño, but he knows that Despacito was popular. He wanted to hop onto that trend, and obviously that song did quite well. However, he did mention in an interview that he did want to make G.O.A.T about what he has been through. I felt like there was much more to give there rather than just talk about being at Madam's Tussauds and, you know, going into the Bollywood music industry. It would have been much more interesting to hear other life stories. Overall, I feel like the album could have used a couple more real bangers like G.O.A.T, but not a terrible album. I'll give it a strong 3 out of 5 bummy buys. I didn't want to get into also the music videos that he put out, but I think I'll save that for another video I have coming out. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, let me know if any of the albums that you want me to talk about, leave them in the comments below. Of course, this is my first episode, so, you know, here's hoping that I put out more and I get better at this. Am I just gonna steal his, like, transition? No. You know what, just fade from here, that's fine. That's why I have it, so that I have messy outros. You had to do it, it had to happen.
I waited till you were finished.
Yeah, what? It's been too long, I have to make a joke now.